You guys spying on me again? I was just doing some stretching. Just getting ready to do a bit of exercising here. Just gonna go for a nice walk, get a little bit of exercise. So I was just warming up and stretching out my legs a bit. So guys, what is exercise? Is exercise the same as sport? A lot of people make this mistake in English. Actually, this is a very common mistake in many countries that I've heard. Okay, so they confuse sport and exercise. They're different. Okay, so don't confuse them. In this lesson, I am going to solve the issue once and for all. Okay, so you will never be confused again about sport versus exercise. So exercise is anything you do for your health or for your fitness. Okay, so if you go walking, that's exercise. Now stretching, you could count that as part of exercise. You know, most people, they stretch before and after they exercise. Maybe if they're gonna go jogging, they might do some light stretches before and maybe some more intense stretches afterwards. Right after their body's all warmed up, they can do some really kind of deep stretches. So stretching, right, it means like you're kind of like you know, kind of loosening up your tendons and your joints and your muscles, right? So that's called stretching. Exercise is anything you do for your health or your fitness. Okay, now sport, a sport, what is sports? Sports is a competitive game that, you know, is usually involves physical activity, like soccer, tennis, you know, even golf. Like golf would be one of the less intense sports. Like, do golfers even break a sweat? If you break a sweat, that means you start sweating, right? Maybe your armpits get all wet from your sweat. So in some sports, maybe you don't even have to break a sweat. Like in golf, you just swing once and then you walk a bit, or you drive in your golf cart. So golf is not a very high intensity sport. But tennis, on the other hand, that is a very high intensity sport. You know, if you see some of those rallies between, let's say, Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal, they're just like, let's say that has 30 points, a 30-point rally. A rally means the ball, when the ball goes back and forth over the net in 1 point. Okay, so it might go back and forth 30 times until one person wins the point. Like, they're just sprinting and hitting and, you know, running forward, backward, side to side. It's just intense. Okay, so they get good exercise, right? You could say tennis is great exercise. But tennis is a sport, right? Every sport, you get some exercise, but not every exercise is a sport. Does that make sense? Now, some people might want to include things like chess as a sport. That's not a very natural use of the word sport. Oh no, there's a car, guys. Ah, right, I made it. Thought I was gonna get run over, guys. So chess, do you think that's a sport? You know, sports, the word sport means something competitive, which chess is, but chess is not physical. It's not a physical game. I mean, all you do is move pieces, right? Guys, it's windy out here. Hope you can hear me okay in my camera. So yeah, chess is not really a sport. It doesn't involve physical activity. Anything that involves competition, like you know, any sport. What's your favorite sport? Let me know in the comments what your favorite sport is. Even a sport like ping pong, table tennis, right? That can be a very physically, you know, active sport. You can easily break a sweat playing ping pong. Okay, so some sports you break a sweat, some sports maybe you don't break a sweat. But really what makes a sport is that you're doing it to win. It's got some competitive aspect, right? So if you go jogging every day, that's not sport. So if I ask you, what did you do today? You could say, I went jogging, or I did some exercising, okay? Or I got some exercise. Okay, that could mean walking, jogging, biking, doing some sit-ups, going to the gym. Anything like that is exercise. Okay, that's not sport. So don't say I did sport today, or I did sports. Like if you're telling me what you did, right? Like I woke up, I ate breakfast, I went jogging, or you could say I got some exercise. Then if you say I got some exercise, it leaves it a little bit vague, because then I don't know really what you did. So you might want to leave it vague, or you might want to tell me more specifically what you did. You could say I went to the gym, or I went jogging, or I went walking. Just like I'm doing right now, guys. I'm going walking. Look at this beautiful day. Sun is up. Nice water, some trees. That is amazing, guys. What a great place to live. So that's the difference, okay? Sport is competitive. Like when you go like right now, I'm exercising. I am getting some exercise. It's not a sport. I'm not competing with anybody. I'm not trying to win. Okay, now for some activities like jogging, let's say running. I mean, running could be just an exercise, or it could be a sport. Like if you ask the professional runners, you know, they're competing. Maybe they're running a marathon, or they're running a race. That's a sport. Okay, so if you ask them, well, what are your hobbies? They would say, I'm really into sports. Okay, so if you like sports, you can say I'm really into sports. Okay, into means that you like sports. I'm into sports. What are you into? Are you into sports? I'm kind of into sports. I like sports, but not really for the competitive aspect of it. More for just the recreational aspect of it. Okay, so sports are competitive always, but they don't necessarily need to be super competitive. They can be just kind of done for recreation. Okay, so in Canada here, there are a lot of sports that you can play in your community, right? You can join a recreational league. You can join a league here and play sports. You could play competitively, or you could just do kind of more recreational sports. Like that's where you get together, you maybe, you know, you play, you have some kind of, it's more for fun. It's for fun, it's for exercise. You're still trying to win, but it's not like a really competitive league. It's like, you know, any ages, you know, so you get together with some people. Like, so in baseball, especially in baseball, there's a the name for recreational baseball is called beer league. Okay, beer league baseball means that people just make a team and they they play another team, and they don't need to drink beer. You don't need to drink beer in a beer league. It's just called a beer league because a lot of people do drink beer. Okay, so you know, it's the kind of thing where you do it for fun, and maybe for a little bit of for a bit of competition as well. All right, so you want to win. Obviously, you're playing for fun and you're playing to win, but you know, it's not a super, you don't cry if you lose, right? Just go and crack open a couple of beer, and it's just for fun, right? So it's people of all ages. Maybe, you know, it's especially this type of sports is common in workplaces, or maybe if you go to some organization like a church, they might have a team. Okay, they might have one team from one church and it plays a team from another church. Okay, or one company has a softball team. So so beer league is softball. Okay, softball is a kind of baseball that uses a bigger ball, and or another way it's called slow pitch. Okay, so there's different, I don't want to get into the technical aspects of baseball. There's different kinds of baseball, right? There's real baseball. Real baseball is like, is this a Blue Jays? Yeah, this is a Blue Jays cap. Okay, just search for baseball on YouTube and you'll see some real baseball. Then there's like there's different forms of baseball. One is called softball, where they pitch the ball underhand. Okay, in real baseball like this, they pitch overhand, right? But in softball, it's with a bigger ball and they pitch underhand. And in slow pitch, you basically just throw the ball up in the air and then the person has to hit it. It's kind of funny. I was on a slow pitch team once. I don't know, guys, people just play that just for fun. It's not really to win anything. It's just kind of recreational. Okay, so that's what the word recreational means. If you play sports recreationally, it means you're just there for fun and for exercise. Okay, but it is still a sport because you're playing the sport, baseball or basketball or soccer or whatever, right? So what else was I going to say? Can't remember, but do you get the idea? Yeah, I think you understand now. You can hear some kids on the trampoline. Some kids are jumping on their trampoline there. Okay, that is exercise. They're getting exercise. They're having fun. You know, it's a very good exercise, jumping around, right? So remember, every sport you play involves exercise. Okay, you get exercise like professional sports. Sometimes they run miles and miles. Like in an average soccer game, a midfielder probably runs a lot. You know, maybe like 10 kilometers. I don't know what the average distance is. It depends on the match, right? It depends if it's a really intense match. But I don't know, different positions probably run more than others. Like if you're a striker, like whenever I see Messi play, right? Okay, so I mean, Messi's not really, Messi kind of plays a little bit behind the strikers usually. So anyway, but he's always running a lot. So I don't know how far he would run per game. I'm sure Google has the answer. Let me know if you know. What is the average distance that Messi runs every game? It's got to be like, it's got to be at least 10 kilometers, I would say. So I mean, it's quite a bit of running. Like, yeah. So I don't know, guys. You know, it's a lot of exercise. So you have to be really fit to play a sport. To be good at any sport, you have to be physically fit. Okay, so you do your training, your stretching, all of that stuff. So if it just in conversation, normal conversation, the big mistake people make is that they use the word sport when they should use the word exercise, because they're different things, right? Exercise is common every day. Everybody does exercise, right? Maybe you just do some light exercises, do some like kind of, I don't know, jumping jacks, or like just some stretches or whatever. But you know, some people do more intense exercises that could be a sport, like running, but if they're not doing it for a competitive aspect. Guys, look at these red leaves here. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful, guys? Those are just, aren't they bright? Those are bright red leaves. That's awesome, man. So unless you're doing it for a competitive purpose with other people, it's not a sport, it's just exercise. You can go out exercising. Now if you're exercising for your sport, for the purpose of your sport, then you could call it training, right? So if you are training to run a marathon and someone asks, let's say I ask you, what did you do today? You could say, I did some training, I did my training. If I already know you're training for a marathon, then I know what it is. You're exercising, you're practicing, right? You're training to go run your marathon, right? I ran a marathon once, guys. Didn't set any records, but you know, still a good experience. So guys, that's the difference. So sport versus exercise. Is that crystal clear in your mind? If something is crystal clear, that means it's very clear. You will never confuse it again. So I just wanted to make a video about that because it's such an easy fix. It's just an easy thing to fix in your English. Instead of using the word sport, use exercise. Unless you actually do play sports like soccer, or you know, like if you do kind of like, let's say you're just kicking a ball around with your friends. In that situation, you know, we just use the word, we would just say, I was, you know, kicking the ball around with my friends. You wouldn't really say I was playing a sport. You could call it that, guys. There's some overlap, right? If there's some overlap, it means there's some, these words are related, right? There's a lot of people out here, guys. So these words are related, but there's differences, right? There's enough differences that it's a mistake if you use, guys, these dogs are so annoying. Time to end the video, guys. Smash like if you understand this, if it's crystal clear for you, you know, and give me your examples. What did you do today? Did you do some exercising? What do you usually do for exercise? And if you know, if someone asks you, or let's say someone tells you I did some exercising, and you want to know specifically what they did, you could ask them, what do you usually do for exercise? Okay, that's a good conversation question. What do you usually do for exercise? And then a person might say, well, I usually go walking, or maybe I go biking, or swimming. Maybe they do swimming, or maybe they kick a ball around with their friends. Maybe they play ping pong, whatever. Okay, so really the difference between these words is your purpose, your intent. Okay, so if you just want to get some exercise, playing ping pong with your friend, if that's the purpose, is for fitness and for your health, you know, you could call it exercising. If it's to kind of be competitive, you could call it a sport. You know, if it's not super competitive, you could call it recreational sports. I mean, it's just for fun. All right, Man, guys, feels like I'm being bombarded with kids. Bombarded by kids here. There's a ton of kids out. I think school is out. I think it's about 3:30 or it's 4 o'clock. So 4 o'clock, kids are out of school. That's why there's so many kids around here. But anyway, guys, that's it for today. Just wanted to talk about that. So as always, I love you so much and hope you're staying safe and healthy and happy. And before that plane ruins my video, I will bid you farewell. And as always, I'll see you over in the next episode of Mad English TV. Take care.